who benefits and profits off our bickering in our division. You know, it's like follow the money. I don't know their names, Bill, but if you follow the money, you go high enough, you start to see, okay, you know, this is an industry. Okay, let's take rap music.
Let's take it.
Same people who own the labels own the prisons. So
literally the same people?
Literally the same people who own the labels own private prisons. So, you know, it seems really kind of suspicious, if you want to say that word, that, you know, the records that come out are really geared to push people towards that prison industry.
But they didn't make you write those lyrics.
It's not about making somebody write the lyrics. It's about being there as guardrails to make sure certain songs make it through and certain songs don't. Certain flavors are exposed on the record. You know, some records are made by committee. Meaning record company guys sit around and tell the artists, this is hot, say that, do this. We're gonna have this guy write the lyrics. We're gonna have that. So the narrative is really kind of, you know, structured and really made into what the record company want the record to be, and what the, you know, a lot of artists are frustrated with this kind of music making. You know, a lot of people, you know, feel like they're being controlled by the label. This is how they do it. Telling you what songs to sing, what hooks to do, what songs, you know, you can do your song, that's fine. That's an album cut. But you wanna, the single is what we all say is the single. So you have, you know, the record company pushing the narrative, you know, and you know, so this to me is in somewhat, you know, some social engineering going on here to make sure those prisons stay full. Now, there's a lot of dots to connect to make that happen. But I'm just giving you a broad example of how people at the top can manipulate what's going on with the people who are bickering and fighting. I just gave you a music example, but there's examples of race.
Can I cross-examine this theory?
Of course you can cross-examine, of course.
No, I know, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay, so if your theory is that the prison industrial complex, and I agree, that's an abomination. Start off with there. Prison should, I've done editorials on this on my show. Prison is one of those things that should not be in private hands.
Yes.
Along with healthcare, a few other things that are like, you know, the good part of socialism. They should not be run by people for profit. I agree with that.
Yes.
I did not know about this connection to the music industry, that it's the exact same people. If by that you mean that the people who run the record companies may have stock in prisons, private prisons, that's possible because they all have, I mean, do they actually like Monday, Tuesday go to work as a record company executive and Wednesday through Friday go to work at the prisons? No. Okay, so if
of course they're not actually running the labels.
They have financial interest in it.
They have financial interest.
Okay, so if they have financial interest in the prisons, and your theory, if I'm following correctly, is that the kind of stuff in rap lyrics works as a funnel to get people inspired to do the kind of things that would get them in prison, right? Like, for example, writing a lyric, fuck the police.
Yeah, I mean, writing a lyric, fuck the police.
Might get somebody arrested and sent to prison.
That might get somebody arrested and sent to prison. That's just one example, one record that the record company did not manipulate. You know, that's pure artistry.
Right.
But I've seen labels,
Did they
Work with
manipulate?
artists.
Did they manipulate you?
No,
Never.
I'm an independent artist. Always have been. I started off on independent labels.
So how were you able to
And-
avoid
and-
this trap that so many others fell in?
Um,
What did you do right?
I wouldn't let an A&R asshole in my studio. Like, you're not fucking coming in here telling me how to make a record.
Right.
I'm come from the heart. I'm gonna do what I feel. So I never allowed an A&R to. I never had anybody A&R me, but Dr. Dre. You know. So
That's pretty.
I just wasn't ever going for it, and they just kind of like let me alone do my thing. And I was on the independent label like Priority. I wasn't on a major. And majors, they do it with singers. They do it with rappers. They have a lot to say in what's the finished product.
Isn't it always the case anywhere in show business? But okay, let's just talk music, where the people who are the most talented and are making money, therefore, for the label, of course you get to.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, you get to make your own rules because it's always about if you're making money for me, you can get away with anything. Roseanne once sang the national anthem in front of some stadium before like the Super Bowl or some big game, World Series or something, and like butchered it almost on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, you can imagine what America made of fucking with their precious anthem. They went apeshit. But her show was #1 on ABC, so they kept her.
Mm-hmm.
Later on, she did something bad and they got rid of her. Times had changed. But my point is, like, when you're making people money,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to leave you alone. It's the people who can't afford to tell them to fuck off.
I don't know about that.
Really?
I think the more money you make, the more money that you're making for a label, more than likely, the more money you're costing to